dangerously. Around the tilted cube, and that's the swing back. And he spins away again and goes across the quad, and there's a dive, and he doesn't make contact.
And what is Naeem doing?
Well, he's got a good vantage point.
Welcome to World Chase Tag from Paris, where tonight we determine the first ever French national champions at WCT6 France. We have battled through the group stages and 4 teams have earned their spots in the semi-finals. 3 of them have had deep runs in the World Championship. In fact, Corp are former world champions, and there is one rank outsider in West Coast family. I'm Dawson, this is 3-time world champion Greg Ball. The semi-finals and the final to come, Parkour 59 have to be the team to stop. They battered their way through the group stage.
Yeah, certainly, Dan. They won every single one of their games and didn't concede a single evasion. That's against Blast, No Joke, and Corp, who are also in the semi-finals here. But the ones to watch today are West Coast family, who have narrowly scraped through and snuck past to get their deserved spot here in the semi-finals.
Parkour 59 have been the dominant force in the tournament so far, led by Naeem, their captain, but they've shared around the responsibilities. There have been evasions from every single player that has got on the quad so far. They look strong. Do they look unstoppable, Greg?
I think they look unstoppable. Just look at the way that Naeem and Mo are running around the quad like it's an absolute playground, Dan. I think West Coast family are going to have to pull something miraculous out of the bag if they've got any hope of trying to get a point on the board.
Well, Parkour 59 won 6-0 in their opening game, 5-0 in the next one, and then 4-0 against Corp. So the only hope that West Coast family have is that perhaps those margins of victory are getting smaller. They have squeaked through to the semi-finals, West Coast family, really upsetting the odds by taking out Blacklist, who are the favourites to reach this stage, and then squeezing past the Crow as well. How long can this fairy tale run continue for this team, who do not have their own quad, but evidently have some fighting spirit? Well, Hugo Boczynski steps on to the chaser's plate for Parkour 59. He has been their top evader, the top evader in the whole tournament so far. But can he get the tag against Bao? Hugo goes over the front line. Bao hanging around at the bottom of the mountain and just shimmies and shakes, and now goes across the quad, and Hugo's in close attendance, and he is too quick for him. He does not let him get away around the ridge.
Hugo crossing the court in about 3 strides over there, Dan. Those incredibly long legs coming into effect. Yeah, that was excellent cat and mouse little situation there. Hugo flushing Bao straight out of the tilted cube and then utilizing his quicker speed across probably the sprint track of the quad over here to narrow down the distance.
Those big long legs covering the ground with ease. In comes Enzo Chaudet. Hugo looking to add to his tally, and look for a big man. He just moves through that mountain as if there's nothing there. But here, he's not moving at all. Just a little shimmy back and forth, and he stays out the way of that hand over the sisters, round by the front line to the ridge where there's some protection, and Enzo just really committed to that, but he wasn't the one to commit to, and he does have one last chance that he doesn't make count. It's another evasion, and Parkour 59 and Hugo in particularly are looking strong.
Again, we're seeing fingertip differences between getting tags and not coming out of here, but wow, what a great way to start off this semi-final matchup.
Nabil is called upon. This West Coast family team said they do want to use the whole roster. They want to use everybody. Try and keep people as fresh as possible. They're going to need to be if they're going to challenge Parkour 59, the recent World Championship finalist. Hugo is off again. Again, that move between the bars through the middle of the mountain works well for him. And he lopes across the quad. And now he's behind the loading bay, and it's another point for Parkour 59.
It's going to be the Hugo show all over again by the looks of it here, Dan.
On en est quand même à la deuxième évasion et à chaque fois ça passe à un poil de toucher.
Bah là, c'est un match un petit peu tendu. Hugo, on sait qu'il maîtrise, il gère à fond. Il y a les timings, il y a tout. Il rentre dans son match petit à petit et il peut enchaîner encore là.
Et ils vous mettent la pression ou pas?
Bah pour l'instant, ouais, ils mettent un peu de pression et on va réussir à tenir.
Well, kind of magnanimous from Mo there. Yeah, they're putting pressure on us. We're going to deal with it. And at the minute, Hugo is dealing with it. Because as Mo said, he has the timing, he has the ability, he's feeling the game as he feels his way over the sisters. Oh, sends his man just spinning around the bars, and a spin through the loading bay, doesn't make contact, and Hugo, oh well, he eventually is caught out. I thought he was going to escape through the mountain for a moment.
It looks almost like he gave himself up there to let someone else on the team step in, Dan. But I don't know why they didn't send Hugo in earlier. Obviously, he said that they wanted to give everyone a chance to compete over here. But when the stakes are so high, you're in the semi-finals and you're fighting for your glory out here. You want to put your best athletes on first to get a good head start, Dan.
Bilal Gracie comes in for Parkour 59. West Coast family trying to inspire their captain, Hugo Trequier, who doesn't last very long, let's be honest.
No, not at all. Didn't see that little shoot coming through there, the little thread through the cube over there, Dan. Look at this, effortless. You can see how many times he's trained that in practice just from how eagle-eyed and precise it is.
I think Hugo realises about a second before the tag is made that the tag is going to be made. Bastien, Emeric comes in, Emeric Cotin, trying to get hold of Bilal, who swings around the tilted cube, and that's the swing back, and is he going to keep on swinging? No, he goes under the mountain, and he gets away, because Emeric got a bit tangled up there, and he keeps on spinning around, but time is running out, 2 seconds left, and that's not enough. That's another point for Parkour 59. It is turning into another dominant display from the world finalists.
Emeric looking like an absolute fish out of water stuck in the cube over there. Not the place you want to be caught at with someone as agile and technically sound as Bilal. I reckon he might even be able to convert this into another one, but by the looks of it, Bastien's stepping up to try and claw something back.
Well, Bilal once again starting on that platform, just resting on those bars, but thinks about hanging about by the ridge, then goes to the loading bay, and it's the ridge once more. Bastien comes through the ridge, but Bilal isn't there, and now he's off to all that cover, all that protection, and a stamp into the tilted cube doesn't afford him an opportunity, and Bastien, time is running out, time is running out, time has run out! Bilal with another point, West Coast family sinking without trace.
Listen, at this point, Dan, if I'm West Coast family, if I'm Hugo, I'm pulling the team aside, I'm saying, look guys, we can try and get these 3, we can try and get the 4, but more importantly, let's just try and have fun for the rest of this. Let's try some tactics out, try to get everyone a chance.
Well, now Bill comes in, trying to get hold of Bilal and stopping this man picking up a hat-trick, and he does manage to do that, gets into the tilted cube and just sticks out that arm over the top of the bars.
Lovely little dive out there, and we've seen it a couple of times by Nabil as well. He's got a great way of getting his body into presence over the line, and look at that, Bilal just unfortunately not getting enough distance between him and Nabil.
Well, in comes Naeem, his first action in this semi-final, the team captain for Parkour 59. West Coast family have got to evade 4 times just to give themselves a chance, and Parkour 59 have not been evaded in this tournament. And there's some real crocodile work from Naeem there, and in the end he snaps up that tag to keep the lead at 4.
The way he pulls himself through the queue to secure the tag is absolutely phenomenal here, Dan. The one thing that these guys need to be careful of is not wasting and causing injuries with their best players, because you've got that bigger match coming up later on, and what is Naeem doing?
Wow. Well, he's got a good vantage point. He'll be able to see Enzo coming at him from there. Drops down into the tilted cube and tries to get away under the sisters as a hop into them from Enzo, and he doesn't manage to get him. Naeem has had the time, well, to basically make sure his hat stayed on, but in the end, he is tagged before he disappears over the mountain. I think this Parkour 59 team are having a bit of fun here.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. You don't start in the corner of the cube unless you're not taking this too seriously, Dan. And it's looking like it's working. They're all having fun out there. It's a great experience for everyone. But as I said, just make sure there's no silly injuries. And that's probably why we're not seeing much of Mo and much of Hugo at the moment.
Well, Parkour 59 are so good, they are being afforded the luxury to play around in the semi-finals. Enzo whipping around those bars, but ends up getting pinned by Bastien, who keeps the lead at 4-0, and we are rapidly approaching confirmation that Parkour 59 will be our first team in the final.
If anyone wants to know how to tag effectively, just watch Bastien run around the quad there. He was everywhere he needed to be and cut off West Coast family at every single corner.
Well, Bastien has a chance to win it now for Parkour 59 and be the first team through to the final here at WCT6 France. Racing around the outside, and it is the outside track that he continues. Hops up onto the mountain, spins into the tilted cube and back on himself to go under the mountain, and he leaves his man trailing in his wake. Bastien had to pick himself up off the floor, but did so and got the tag right at the very death to keep West Coast family in this tournament for at least one more chase.
And the battle of bastions does not disappoint, Dan. Look at that. We've seen Bastion unfortunately slip up a couple of times in jumping over the cube over here. So he needs to be mindful of this going forward, but whether or not he'll get another opportunity within this competition, I don't think so.
Well, West Coast family not going down without a fight, but in comes Mo to wrap things up. First time we've seen him in action. And they've been keeping him fresh for the final because that's where they're headed. It's just a case of if they're headed there right now. Race around the outside. Mo tries to cut off the corner and cuts off the corner again and into the tilted cube. Can't find a way to make it, but then a little tap on the bum to say thank you very much. And it is another dominant display from Parkour 59. Not only have they won all 4 of their games without conceding a single point, they have won them by a minimum margin of 4 points, Greg. This is dominance.
Not much more could be said about that. They're the reason that they are the runners-up at World Chase Tag 5 last year. It's the reason that these guys have made their way through to the final. They deserve to be here, and they've just shown not only the whole of Paris, but the whole of the world why they are the best.
So we have our first finalist. It is Parkour 59, but stay with us because after the break we'll find out who they face for the title. It is between Kimeo and Urban Core Mamba. Second semi-final time here in Paris, and it is Lyon versus Toulouse for a spot in the final. Urban Core Mamba and Loic Georgi, the former world champions back when they were called United, must overcome Kimeo, a team that have not conceded a single evasion so far in this tournament. With the likes of Dawson, with the likes of Ben 10, they've got to consider themselves with a chance, Greg.
Yeah, definitely within a chance, but you're talking about 3 great athletes, whereas Kimeo have a whole roster of incredible athletes here, and such a variety in their team as well. You've got Khalil going for the reach, you've got Benjamin going for the smaller, quick maneuvers, and then the powerhouse that is Valentin coming through with the evasions.
Yeah, it is a real mix of talents, and we've seen the spoils shared around in this Kimeo team. Evasions for Benjamin Garcia, Luca Melesi, Valentin Fiancet and Mathieu Guestin. We have not seen Khalil Hadori put any points on the board himself, but the big lanky captain you can see moving under the sisters there, he is such a threat when it comes to tagging. It is very difficult to get out of the way of those very long arms.
Yeah, big focus on both team captains and the strategy which they'll both be deploying. Big advantage to be evading first from Urban Corp. Let's see if they can capitalize on it and try and get an early defensive point on the board, Dan.
Well, it is team captain Khalil who is backing himself to get the tag in the opening chase, and it is Enzo Tardivo who is on the quad for Urban Core. Thinks about going up the mountain and bails out, comes back under the ridge. Khalil looking to maintain that centre control, still some pace, even moving up high, and he comes back into the centre and makes the tag. And it's an example of just not chasing around the outside, being smart, right?
Yeah, we call it the chaser IQ. He pulls himself back into center and he utilizes those higher up obstacles to provide a vantage point. You can even see it here on the little tables, but it's more apparent on the front line and gives you the most flexibility of where you can potentially go.
Well, Dustin Teo comes into it. He is their top point scorer, Urban Core, with 3 evasions, actually 3 in a row. And there's a dive through by the ridge there that doesn't make contact, and Khalil is away. Hops up over the sisters. Dustin comes into the centre ground. Slaps against the mountain to try and force his man one way, which he does, but he can't make it count. And Khalil might have just lomped off to some safety here because there's a second left. And Khalil Adori, first point of the tournament for Khalil. But immediately Dustin is claiming he made the tag and he wants the DTR.
Okay, I mean, this could be another little foot tag here. We can focus on the DTR in a sec. I just want to pull out in the beginning of that chase there, when Dustin's on the floor originally. Khalil waits for a second to make sure he knows what Dustin's going to do, right? A lot of athletes that we've seen over here just run willy-nilly, but he waits for it. It doesn't actually look like the tags have made him.
There may have been a tag on the knee, but I think our ref's head gets in the way from that camera angle. This will tell us a little bit more. It's the dive through by the ridge, and that's where he's claiming it, but I'm still not convinced. They have to make it obvious, the chasers.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And you got to bear in mind, there's a thick pad of like rubber sat on top of his kneecap here. You're not going to feel that. It's the same as a foot tag. It's very difficult for Khalil to give that away.
Well, tag is given. There was evidently enough evidence there to give the tag, and it means that the score remains at 0-0. And Dustin Teo has had a few seconds extra rest while that disputed tag review is going on, which means he's fresh, and he is perhaps their biggest danger. But Lucas Melesi is very, very quick himself, and he's very aggressive. And there the aggression doesn't pay off as Dustin races around the front line. He's going around the front line again, and is that wise? Well, he's too quick. He's too quick even for Luca. And Luca has not got hold of him. And Urban Core, for a moment they thought they were 1-0 down, and within what, a minute, they're 1-0 up. Here's Melanie Bouchard, quad side.
Qu'est-ce que tu penses de ce début de match? Est-ce que vous pensez que vous allez réussir à aller plus loin?
On n'a qu'à croire en le karma. Le tag, il y a eu un DTR en notre faveur. Dustin vient de marquer un point. On est sur la meilleure des lancers pour avoir notre revanche contre Parkour 59. Il va falloir garder la pression jusqu'au bout.
Well, Loic Georgier, the team captain, already thinking about the final and potential revenge against Parkour 59, but there's a lot of work to do because that was a pretty quick tag. Benjamin Garcia getting the job done and taking out Dustin before he doubles that lead.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely might be leaving karma there, Dan, but Dustin not having karma in his favour.
Benjamin Garcia goes across the quad. Oh, nice little move onto the sisters. Real turning on a sixpence stuff, and he spins away again and goes across the quad, and there's a dive and it doesn't make contact, and this is looking good. This is looking very good for Kimeo, because this surely is going to level it. There's no time for this. There's no time, man. The clock beats him. He needed to make a move.
Yeah, we talk about the athletes having a feeling of knowing how that clock's running down, and evidently Arthur just didn't have enough of that experience to understand how much time he had left. Unfortunate slip there. Well done for getting back up, but he should have dived and given it his all at the cube at the end there, Dan.
Oh, wow. His jaw has bounced off the quad there. Maybe you could forgive him for not quite being in his right mind, but it is one apiece as Benjamin dices with death there, running directly sort of into the path of the chaser, but he's got away with it, and he's done it again. Wow, he really is living dangerously, but ultimately you cannot spend that much time stood next to your chaser and expect to get a tag.
Yeah, and we talk about those last-ditch efforts, those efforts of desperation, and this is it. You can tell that Enzo knew how much time he had left, and that this was the last opportunity he had to go for the dive, and he went for it.
So Enzo has to try and get away from Khalil, which nobody's managed to do as yet, and wow, that was interesting. Ultimately ineffective. I thought for a moment he just played a real dangerous game of jumping over Khalil and got away with it.
Yeah, and hey, look, if he had successfully got that dive through the mountain without getting caught, the ridge, sorry, I guarantee you that would have been, well, potentially an evasion. That would have at least gotten very, very close there.
It's another Dustin versus Khalil matchup. Dustin managed to tag him earlier on and then put Urban Core in the lead. Khalil. Oh, no. Well, he was trying to confuse him, trying to send him one way, then the other, and Dustin was having none of it.
Yeah, definitely. Dustin just reading that situation like an absolute thesaurus of wisdom and knowledge, and there goes my little bit of commentary for that bit over there, Dan.
Words, wisdom, knowledge. He made the tag, that's what happened. It's one apiece, and we're halfway through in this shootout for the final here in Paris. Dustin under the ridge. Races around, he is quick, cuts inside and basically weaves around the sisters, but as he goes around the tilted cube, he finds his man there waiting for him, and Enzo, Valentin, gets the job done.
Yeah, Dustin almost committed a bit too much over there. He should have stopped back and waited in the corner a little bit more, but excellent read again by Valentin, and we've seen this smart play a lot by Valentin previously. I think he could be what they need to get that edge.
Well, they've waited till the second half of this semi-final to introduce Valentin. He makes the tag. Can he put Kimeo into the lead for the first time? Arthur stamps into the tilted cube and tries to find a way through, but can't manage to do it. And it's a hopping back and forth for Valentin, and now he's away, using those platforms on the outside of the quad, and Arthur doesn't know which way to go, and it doesn't work out, and the arms are spread in celebration because Valentin puts Kimeo into the lead for the first time.
Looking like Valentin quickly becoming the MVP of this Kimeo team, but what we're not seeing a lot of is Benjamin Alawafi. Where is he? Are they saving him for Parkour 59? I feel like that's what they need right now.
Well, if they are saving him for the final, that might be a mistake, because they might not be there, because they are behind now, and it's Enzo who comes back in. Benjamin Alawafi has been a big part of this Urban Core team for some time, and they have not made any use of him in this one, as Valentin sets off around the front line, and he's not got... Oh, wow. Wow, well, there was a big, deep breath of, I think, relief from Enzo there. He made the dive, it needed to make contact, it did on the shoulder.
And if anyone thinks that World Chase isn't one of the hardest sports out there, just look at clips like that. Athletes putting their lives on the line to just get a tag, Dan, to just try get the upper head and the upper advantage on this day.
Benjamin Garcia back into the fray. There's Enzo. Oh, he's sat down. He sat down and he's gone again. He might get away with this, but is he hopping? Has he done some damage? Yeah, he has. It must have been, I don't know if it was an ankle or a foot or whether it's a tendon, whatever it was, you could see that it was immediate.
Yeah, I reckon that dive that he went through last match, the little slip up, I reckon that's weakened the leg, and then he's just gone into this chase with a bit of weakness. There's not much you can do. He ran down the clock as much as he possibly could, and this is again when you need to be relying on Ben Aliwafi. Wow.
Loic Georgie it is, the team captain. No sign of Ben 10. An Urban Core maybe down a man. Or a stumble, and somehow he gets away with it. My word, Benjamin Garcia looked like that was a terminal mistake. It was not, and it turned into quite a handy little move, and it might turn into another point. 3 seconds to go. Hide in the corner. That's what he does. It is 3-1 to Kimeo. They have turned this semi-final around.
Credit where credit's due there to the Kimeo team, but I was just hoping for a bit more out of Loic there again. Like, why Ben 10 wasn't put in? Why'd you put yourself in such a high-stakes place? Look at this. He had him served up on a platter, Dan, and he did not capitalize on it. He would be left for hungry in the wild.
And it means that Kimeo are on the verge of the final, but here comes Ben 10. They haven't used him all semi, and now he has to do it on his own, and he swings around the tilted cube, and Greg Ball, it pains me to say it, he might have been right. They should have been using him earlier.
Now, I'll tell you what, let's stick Loic on now instead. I'm sure that will help. No, credit for Ben 10. There's a reason he's been on the squad for so long. It's because he's good and he can read what the opposition are doing.
Now, Jonathan Dumont is fresh. We've not seen him in this match, but then again, we've not seen much of Ben Aliwafi. But can he get back-to-back evasions? No, he can't. The stamp of frustration because Kimeo, they went 1-0 down, and Jonathan Dumont has helped seal a 3-1 win. They might have conceded their first point of the tournament, but they will back themselves in the final against Parkour 59. They could yet be the first French national champions. Can they do it, Greg?
And this is what we've been waiting to see, is Kimeo versus Parkour 59, the clash of the titans, the battle of the bands, Dan. Both teams having quads, and we're finally getting to see how it progresses now. But look, Urban Corp did a good job. I feel like some strategic decisions could have been made for the better over there, but well done, lads.
We have our final. It is Kimeo versus Parkour 59. One of them becomes the first ever national French champion. Welcome back to Paris, France for the third place playoff at WCT6 France. We have West Coast family, the newcomers, the upstarts, the outsiders, taking on the former champions of the world in Urban Core Mamba. Greg Ball alongside me. One thing you're looking out for is Bastien Ducomp, now very much part of the West Coast family, but used to be part of this Urban Core team back when they were world champs.
I wonder if we're going to see a couple of fun tongue-in-cheek chases today. That's what I'm hoping for, but I believe West Coast are going to be taking it super seriously.
Well, Benjamin Aliwafi, didn't see much of him in the semi-final. Things might have been different. Had we? Oh my word, he's hitting the bars harder than Jack Grealish with his face. And he still gets up and makes the tag on Enzo.
Unlike Jack Grealish, who would probably have just laid on the floor and done nothing, Benjamin is actually getting up and trying his best over here. Look, Dan, that's where you don't want to get the bars going to right
my,
there.
Welcome our old friend Admiral Smackbar.
I wonder if he's going to be able to keep going.
Well, he's there. He's going to try and get Urban Core into the lead. I suggest he does his running with his feet, not his face, but I'm no expert. Working out for him now, under the ridge, sets off over the mountain, drops down into the tilted cube using those bars, swings around it and heads into the centre of the quad. Now to the loading bay where there's protection there, over the mountain again, and there is agony there from Bastien Ducomp, the former Urban Core player, who misses by the narrowest of margins and slams his, rib cage into the mountain at the same time.
Yeah, it looks like it, Dan, and that one's really going to bruise the pride. His opportunity to claw back some sort of sense of anything against his. Oh, look at that. Tag given, I think. Yeah, I think he made it just in time.
Oh, they're given the tag?
Yeah, I think he's got it. But then what goes down on the chest?
They have given the tag. Well, Well, ultimately, he's sacrificed himself, but he's made the tag, Bastien. Massive moment in the early stages, and how much of that I meant to Bastien Ducombe, the former Urban Core player.
The world, mate, the world.
Dustin, it is 0-0, no evasion there. Dustin Teo comes in. Bastien, is he struggling with that rib injury? Doesn't look like it. He gets away pretty quickly, and under the mountain he goes round by the loading bay. Look over the shoulder, sees Dustin right there, but he manages to get clear. And the ridge is providing some safety, and more than that, it helps him put West Coast into the lead.
I'll tell you what, Loic Georgie's going to be a bit regretful that Bastien's not on the team after an evasion like that against one of his best players out here. Both players scrambling around. I maintain in these situations, you want to be putting on slightly taller players against your slightly smaller players. Maybe Benjamin back up and running again.
Well, Loic Georgie, the man who led this Urban Core team when they were called United to a World Championship, and he jumps into the mountain, drops down, and grabs his former teammate Bastien to make a pretty quick tag.
I was going to say, probably a bit of a point behind that one over there. Yeah, this is the kind of Loic that I want to see here. That strategic advantage from the amount of time he spent on the quad coming into fruition.
Well, Loic was undoubtedly a big star for this Urban Core team when they won that world title. We have not seen the best of him in this tournament. But when he was successful in your call, he started so often by the ridge, and it's worked out for him there as Nabil can't get hold of him, and he gets stuck in the bars and Loic is away. But can the man who's in his 40s now have the pace to stay away? He might do, you know. He might do. And he's done it. He has done it. Loic Georgie with his first point of the tournament makes it one apiece.
Go on, Loic. Finally pulling something out of the bag. And this is what I love to see from such a veteran team captain here. You know, it's one thing to command your team and to shout instructions, but to actually put proof in the play and gain an evasion yourself, that's the kind of pride that not only you but your whole team respects.
Well, Hugo Tréguier, the team captain for West Coast Family, he's been one of, if not their star player, and he makes the tag there. Very accomplished stuff from Hugo.
Yeah, nice and easy stuff there from Hugo. I mean, look, Dan, there's not much to say. He's nice and fresh. There's an opportunity for him to pull away, and as we approach the halfway mark, any sort of advantage here is going to make a difference.
Well, Ben 10 comes in, Benjamin Eloafi. Number 10 on his shirt, and he manages to get the ankle there. It's one of those where there's a dive and then a secondary dive and swing of the arm.
Talk about a penguin slide, but this is the Emperor penguin slide that we're seeing over here. Look at that reach! Very hard to get away unless you can start floating off the quad.
You've not managed that move yet, have you?
But the getting away, or...?
Just floating off the quad! Oh, no! Oh, my word! Benjamin Eloafi, it's either brilliant or potentially fatal from him so far in this tournament.
Well, I didn't think Emperor Penguins could be that agile, Dan, but it looks like he's embodied one on that slide.
Oh, no!
That could have been disastrously worse, Dan. A little toe slip on that angular bar. It's so hard to get your footing right sometimes.
Look, when the foot placement goes wrong, when it goes right, you think it's just brilliant and it's just easy. That illustrates how much it's so difficult. As Dustin comes in with Enzo setting off over the mountain, the score remains one apiece at the halfway stage. There's loads of jittery legs from the pair of them there. As Enzo sets off around the front line, pauses and then goes again. And Dustin into the tilted cube, makes the swing, makes the tag, not by very much, and with only a couple of seconds left.
Mate, Dustin's got his heart and his soul in this. You can see how aggressive he's going for these tags and how much he wants it badly. It's the same with Enzo. The amount that one evasion here would mean to either team, obviously it's not just win and lose, it's about pride right now.
Well, can Dustin put Urban Core into the lead? Hugo reaches out and touches him. It's another quick tag. Hugo Tréguier is doing some very impressive stuff as a tagger. Can he back it up as an evader now?
And now that Loic's got a bit of wind under his wings, I'm hoping that's a no and that he can pull through. Look at that face.
Loic Georgie into the action again. The captain takes on the captain. And, well, we knew a captain was going to win, but it turns out it's the man in green. He's got the tag.
Very impressive, like, later half of the game that we're seeing here from Loic. I think, well, I'm trying to figure out, look, if it was me over here, obviously you've got the pressure and that leads you to motivate yourself. But I wonder if it's because there's actually less stakes at play, because he knows that there's no chance of final.
Well, there is no chance of final, but they want to finish third. They want this effective bronze medal, and Loic sets off across the quad with Bastien again in close attendance. Bastien Ducombe, the former Urban Core man, has already been involved in some dramatic stuff in this, and oh wow, that was incredible. very nearly brilliant, but he kept up the momentum to keep it going, but he couldn't fashion another opportunity. And Loic Georgi, he's done it again.
I'm loving this from Loic. It's like seeing an old star again. It's like seeing him in the WCT4 days right now. The rest of the team absolutely going wild. West Coast family a little bit sad coming into this one over here. Can we see a second from Loic?
A captain's display from Loic Georgi for Urban Core so far. He has both points for them and it puts them into the lead, having trailed 1-0. Nabil trying to get hold of him as Loic goes under the ridge and now around the loading bay, and I think it was a hand tag, maybe one of those snipes.
Yeah, just a little hand tag. I want to pull apart the fact that Loic is still doing these incredibly valiant runs across the middle tables and then grabbing the sidebar as he hits the sisters. For someone who's 40 years old, that's an incredibly quick and nimble thing to see. Absolutely incredible show of athleticism right there, Dan.
Well, Benjamin Alawafi. We spin the wheel of Ben 10 to see if it'll be brilliant or terrifying. On the top of the mountain, decides that discretion is the better part of valor as he backs out of it, but then onto the sisters and using that height, and yeah, he looked like the tag might come sooner, but in the end, I think he always felt comfortable.
Yeah, and he's definitely comfortable at I was going to say he's comfortable at heights to a certain degree, but he's definitely comfortable along that front line over there. And this is why we say use the top obstacles as to your advantage, because you can jump down easier, you can shut that distance down. Look at that, using that reach, brilliant.
It is match point Urban Core to take the third place spot. West Coast family, the outsiders, have made them work incredibly hard for this. But can Ben Alawafi seal the deal? Up onto the sisters. Under the mountain to the loading bay. And there's a move coming, but it doesn't come quickly enough from Hugo, the team captain for West Coast, and it's turning into a race around the outside, and it's not one that he wants to be in with Ben 10, who gets it done. A roar of celebration from Benjamin Alawafi as Urban Core side off with a 3-1 win. And look at the intensity from Loic Georgi, the captain, who has helped turn this game around from 1-0 down to a 3-1 win.
Désolé pour les gros mots, mais Mamba, pour ceux qui connaissent le basket, Mamba mentality, on lâche pas. 40 ans, on est là.
Listen, Dan, I know what it's like to be a former championship team and to lose at the last second. And look, they're not winning this game over here, but they are winning the hearts of the people. They have done their best and they've pulled through, showing that they are still relevant.
And if you thought emotions were running high there, wait until the title decider, Parkour 59 versus Kimeo, to become champions of France. Welcome back to Paris for the final of WCT6. One of these two teams will become the first ever French national champions. Parkour 59 have swatted aside all comers so far in this tournament, winning every single game by a minimum of 4 points to 0. And with Hugo Borczynski, who has 8 evasions on his own, he is a very real contender and maybe the leading contender for the MVP title, the Baron of Bolt. But standing in their way is Kimeo, the team from Lyon, quarter-finalists at the World Championship, led by Khalil Hadori, who has been a demon when it comes to making tags and chasing evaders down. But with Benjamin Garcia, Valentin Fiancet and Luca Milesi, they have pace and power, and they hope to cause an upset. Greg Ball alongside me. Parkour 59 have to be considered the favourites of what we've seen so far, don't they?
Yeah, definitely the favourites, Dan, but this isn't actually the first time these two have gone up against each other. Parkour 59 actually beat Kimeo 3-0 at the group stages of the World Championships last year, but that was a completely different lineup and a different roster. We've got Valentin here, for example, so I'm expecting different things this time.
Benjamin Garcia will start for Kimeo as evader. Mohamed Ayari, Mo, who was incredibly making tags whilst on his phone in their opening game. There will be none of that mucking about in this final. The stakes are too high. The competition too fierce. And Mo is fiercely chasing down. He's got out of the quad, but he's claiming a tag beforehand. Now this is all or nothing. Either the tag is made and it remains 0-0, or if he doesn't make contact, he's gone out the quad, the chase ends its evasion. So which is it?
It wouldn't be a first matchup in the finals if it wasn't as exciting as that. It looked like a hand tag to me, Dan, I'm not going to lie. However, it's all to play for here, as you said. Look at this.
I think he's tagged his own hand, and that doesn't count. There is some genuine shock amongst the teams. Mo reaches out, and it's the offhand that swings around, and the referee's having a look at it. They're reacting, they've seen something, but what have they seen? He's tagged himself!
It could have been as he was approaching the tilted cube bars over there, Dan.
Kimeo say evasion.
Here we go, evasion
Say evasion!
Hey!
Mo did make a tag, but he didn't tag Benjamin Garcia, and Luca Milesi fired up.
Use your eyes next time is what he's saying.
1-0 Kimeo. And in comes Bilal Ligresi. Parkour 59 have conceded a point for the first time in this tournament. It's at the very start of the final. And Bilal shoots through the tilted cube to make the tag.
Look, Dan, we talk about trying to get up onto that perimeter board as much as possible to create as much space. But against someone like Bilal, there is nothing you can do there. He's almost out the quad by the time he tags you, Dan.
Well, Bilal there is shooting through and managing to not get slowed down by friction or any of that business. Luca Milesi, who has a look in his eyes that he would run through walls for this Kimeo team. Will he have to do so? Moves on to the sisters. Bilal is under the mountain, and now he's by the loading bay. And we are 14 seconds through, and Luca Milesi cannot make the tag through the bars there. There may be one more chance, but he's too sketchy. He's too sketchy, he's too uncontrolled. He doesn't get another opportunity, and Parkour 59 hit back almost immediately.
Yeah, that was a textbook anti-shoot there from Bilal, Dan. Waiting for Benjamin to go for the tag, waiting for Lucas to go for the tag before shooting out of the way, anti-shooting out of the way, creating the maximum amount of space possible and leading to the evasion, keeping us cool under pressure.
He's like a matador, just waving the little flag around for the ball as Khalil jumps into the tilted cube and then seems to lose his footing on one of those tables there. The long on doesn't make contact for a change. And will he get another chance? He drops down right on top of his man, who was hoping to just sort of set up camp under the sisters and hope Khalil went away.
That was brilliant work again from Bilal. A couple of great jukes over there, just narrowly avoiding the tag over here, but good stuff from Khalil to get back onto the front line, utilize his height and not get fooled by the juke underneath the sisters like so many have.
So important if you don't get the tag, even when you think you've got it, that you have to recompose and go again. And it is now down to Hugo, who has been a real danger. And he does exactly to Khalil what Khalil just did in the last chase.
Khalil might be one of the best taggers on the team, Dan, but certainly not one of the best evaders. Unlike Hugo, who is one of the best taggers on the team, but also one of the best evaders.
Yeah, 8 evasions already for Hugo Boczynski, but Valentin Fiancet is charged with stopping him, increasing that tally. Hop onto the front line for Valentin. Sleeves rolled up by his shoulders. Up onto the ridge, decides to come through the ridge down low, and Hugo's already left, and he goes over the mountain, drops down by the tilted cube and waits, and how has he tried to shimmy through there? There's not a big enough gap.
Great pacing control by Hugo over there, and by that I mean there's a real start-stop nature to his game. He doesn't just blindly run around like we see a lot of the American athletes doing, for example. He's got that timing down to a T.
Est-ce que du coup Kimeo c'est quand même genre des combattants de taille?
De grande taille. On les attendait, ils nous attendaient. Là on a notre match, le match de l'année il est maintenant.
The match of the year is now. That's what they're saying, and it's living up to the billing at the moment as Valentin moves gracefully through the mountain. But look at that! Great work from team captain Naeem into the action and into the tag.
Yeah, absolute mastery being shown right there from Naeem. It's almost like he's already done the 10,000 hours in World Chase Tag, and this is just going to be a masterclass that we're seeing going forward over here. The way he tracks Valentin down throughout the quad, and then utilizes the sisters to track down and close the distance. Beautiful stuff, Dan.
Beautiful stuff. Très belle. Benjamin Garcia back into the fray, and Naeem starting right in the front line. And storming to the back of the quad, goes round the back of the mountain. We've seen him do that a couple of times in this tournament, and this time under the mountain and away from Benjamin. And low, under the ridge. Does he go round the mountain again? No, he does not. He bounces off it to come back to the ridge and under the ridge again, and the mountain round the back, and the lights are green. The evasion is there. Parkour 59 lead, and it's a good job that the timer ran out there, because if he'd gone out of the quad, it would have counted as a tag.
And that would have shattered all hopes of any further evasions for Neem over there. But just textbook stuff, Dan. Running from high EQ obstacles to high EQ obstacles. It's how you play tag. You keep that repetitive reform process going, and that's why they're scoring so many points.
This is some matchup, captain versus captain. Naeem swinging around on the bars and the platforms on the sisters as Khalil with those big telescopic arms, and you can see them shoot out, and even Naeem can't get out of the way of that.
Yeah, such a big man going through such a small space. Once again, the amount of practice that Khalil's put into this game is absolutely insane. Look at that, straight in, straight out. Good thing of Naeem to catch it, but unfortunately he just couldn't quite escape the hand and the reach of Khalil.
He's like a Khalil the eel there, just popping out of his hole a couple of times to make the grab. And there's a sort of swing from Khalil under the ridge. But Hugo gets after him and does make a tag. Looks like another one of those snipe tags on the hand to keep Parkour 59 in the lead.
It looks like Hugo is now Khalil's worst nightmare. He's made 2 tags against Khalil now, and it's looking like they've planned a reverse counter strat to try and take Khalil out of the game.
Jonathan Dumont comes in. Man who managed to seal the deal for them in the semi-finals, and book Kimeo's spot here, and he makes a tag there very impressively.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, Dan, and as we head into the last couple of chases in this matchup, we're going to start seeing more desperation tags coming through from Kimeo. But look at that, absolutely textbook. He knew exactly where to go, when to do it, and Hugo just wasn't quick enough.
Look, Greg, you've been involved in tight matches. What's it like in these final few chases?
It's hard to think about what you're doing, Dan, I can't lie. It's hard to understand the gravity. All you're there is in instinct and chasing for your life.
Well, it is Bilal who is chasing for his life as Jonathan Dumont gets to the top of the mountain, thinks about bailing out. He lost some speed, but he's not going to get punished for it. And he gets through the mountain, and he will get punished for that one. It's such a difficult move to go through the mountain at pace like that, and he just caught the foot, ended up on the floor, and it was easy pickings for Bilal.
Look, it's happened to the best of us, Dan. You asked what it's like in these situations, and that is what it's like. You are running at full pelt, full energy, and full intensity. It is so easy to make these little mistakes like that.
Benjamin Garcia been such an important part of this Kimeo team. Can he make the tag here? Bilal bounces off the sisters, and he's stuck in open ground, but he's not going to get punished, and he goes into open ground and out of it, and he's under the sisters, and he greets his man, he invites him forward, and I thought he'd got away with it, but in actual fact Benjamin Garcia said thank you very much and made the tag.
Yeah, confident. He looks very relaxed still, Dan. I feel like this could be a nice fresh play as we go into it. A bit risky for Bilal to be calling in the little echo holler over there, but hey, Benjamin's not complaining at all.
Well, he very nearly got away with it, Bilal. But the tag was made, and it's down to Parkour 59 captain Naeem to get hold of Benjamin Garcia. If he doesn't, we've got a level game. This is close. It is a great contest, and Naeem is far too close to Benjamin there. And Parkour 59 are on the verge of becoming the champions of France.
That was a silly mistake there. Naeem had the high ground. He was on top of the ridge. You're there at like a deer in the headlights in the middle of the quad. What do you expect to happen? Him to fall over like Benjamin Iowafi?
Valentin Fiancet, can he save Kimeo? He must tag and then evade to force sudden death, or Parkour 59 will become the champions. Naeem under the ridge, sets off round the front line, hops onto the front line, and now with the lazy boy in the tag comes in, Valentin Fiancet holds his hands up, makes sure his opponent's all right, but now he has to focus on evading, because if he does, we're going the distance.
It's so hard to shut everything out at that point. You've got to shut the crowd out, you've got to shout everyone else shouting out at you out, and all you got to think about is stick to your guns, do what you know how to do best. Don't get panicked by someone like Hugo staring you down from the start to play.
Hugo has a chance to win it for Parkour 59. It remains match point. This man arguably has been the MVP of the tournament, but can he seal the title for his team? And he might just have done it. He has just done it. He's done it in double quick time, and Parkour 59 win it. It is agony there for Valentin, who is caught out on the mountain. Look at that man's face as he sinks to the floor.
An absolute deserved round over here. Parkour 59 showing domination from the very early stages.
It was the biggest matchup of the tournament. They said it was the match of the year, but Parkour 59 have won it. They become the first ever French national champions here at WCT6 in Paris, France.